I want to go back first before we get into what you're looking at the rest of the way out here to the games that took place over the weekend. You got a nice win on Friday night, a 6-1 win over Wheeling. What worked that night for you guys that you hadn't seen over the last few games?
Well, we got some breaks, and, as a losing team, we haven't had many breaks this year, and, we got some breaks that night, and, so the puck was bouncing our way a little bit, and the guys, really made a commitment on defense. Commer was great in the nets, obviously, and, the guys just did a great job in front of them, and we blocked a lot of shots, and like I said, we got some bounces that got us to 6 goals. Usually we're getting to 3, and, that night we got to 6, and a lot of people scored who hadn't scored in quite a while. That hadn't scored in probably a month, 3 to 4 weeks. So a lot of those people got off the schneid, and, it resulted in a big win.
Well, talking about the rest of the way out, obviously you've got the game Wednesday and then a Friday and Saturday game, and then you guys will call it a season and start getting ready for next year, although I would imagine you're probably looking ahead to next year already. Obviously, you'd like to win the rest of these games and kind of, end on a higher note, but are we at a point now, is it safe to say that maybe you're more at a talent evaluation to build for the future? Is that more important than the wins and losses over these final few games?
Yeah, I think we're looking at, obviously the fans will get a idea of who we got for futures and all those trades come June 13th. But, for right now, we're watching, Kyle and Chris and Joe Zarbo, and, we're watching these 3 kids and trying to get a good read on them and a good read on Vizano as well. I think Vizano's played really well. He hasn't won a game, unfortunately, but, he looks like a goalie who can play in this league. And, Zarbo's over a point per game, so we're very impressed with him. Rumble's come in and, done a nice job on defense, playing with Spencer Humphreys against the other team's best lines and playing the power play and penalty kill. And, for a young kid and first-time exposure to the league has looked good. And, Kyle Shapiro coming from D3, got 3 points in Wheeling, and, it was a great breakout for him. And, he seems to be getting better every game. So I think the 3 kids we got have really shown what they can do, and along with Grenier, who's done a good job for us since he's been called up from Huntsville.
Well, I know you had a few of the amateur tryouts that came through, and you used them for X amount of days, and then you have to either sign them or move on. Will there be? You only have the 3 games left. Will there be any more moves made or any more amateurs brought in, or is it pretty much what the roster is now is what you'll close out with?
Yeah, we will close out with this roster unless there's 2 or 3 injuries, and we have to bring somebody in for numbers wise. But right now everybody's pretty healthy, and we've won a game in our last 2, and I think the guys are feeling good about themselves, and the pressure's off really, and they can go out there and play without the added pressure of fighting for a playoff spot or winning at home or whatever the pressure may be. We're on the road, and it seems our last couple of big wins have come on the road.
Well, when the season ends, everybody kind of goes their own way. I know the Canadian players have to go back to Canada sooner than later because of the work visas. How do you, as a coach and the organization, once the season wraps up, when is the earliest that you guys kind of get back together as a team?
Well, what we do is we'll get back early Sunday morning. We're going to have player meetings Monday starting at 10 a.m. Myself and Josh Bolia and Jim Riggs will be in on those meetings. And we're just going to talk to each player and ask him what he thought of this season. And, we always ask players if they know any good players back home that, are looking to play, or somebody they think might be able to help the organization, and tap them that way. And, just ask them about their experience. Was it positive? And, would they recommend us to other kids? And because they're really our biggest salesmen going home for the summer. These guys talk to their friends and to other guys who call them and say, hey, you played in Evansville last year. What was it like? What was the coach like? How's the ownership? What are the fans? Fans like everything. So these guys are our best salesmen, and we got to make sure that, they all had a positive experience and, are going to say good things about us.
Well, when do you have to have your protected player roster into the league, and how many can you protect? Because I know that's what kind of goes into the futures that you have coming, and I don't know if other teams have any futures coming from us or not, but that's how you protect those players from being picked up, correct?
Right, and they're allowed to protect, I think, over 20 players here to start with after the playoffs, and then it goes down to, I believe, 8 or 10 players after that. But that's not till later once the championship is played and everything else. But we're going to protect obviously some people that we feel we want back for next year, that we feel are good players and can help us make the playoffs next year. And, we're going to definitely protect those guys. And the other guys, that we don't feel can help us, we're going to try to help get somewhere else.
Evansville IceMen head coach Al Sims joining us on the Menard Studio Hotline, his weekly segment In the Crease. It's Ford and O'Brien on ESPN Evansville 105.3. And, Coach, obviously a lot of talk about what the players do once the season's all said and done. What do you do? Once the season's all said and done, you get back in town on Sunday. I know you said you've got meetings with the players. Is there going to be room for downtime for you, or do you jump right into next season and start getting ready for that?
Yeah, I think the earlier you can get started and contact kids, kids are funny. It's usually the guy that contacts them first that they have an affinity for. And, you want to be the first coach to talk to them because, other coaches are going to call them. And you want to get, your spiel out first and try and, sell. I'm going to be trying to sell myself and sell the city of Evansville and our arena. Sell the Ottawa affiliation and the Binghamton affiliation to these players, and sell them on Chris Dredger being the first Iceman to get called to the NHL. So I don't think many teams can say that they had a player go right from their team to the National Hockey League. So it's a great selling point for us, and kids want to hear those type of things. They want to know. Do we push guys to the next level? And, we'll be selling how many call-ups we had this year. It's got to be between 30 and 40, I would think, call-ups to the American Hockey League. So, these are all things that kids, want to hear from the coach and the team that they can push them to the next level, and they're willing to do it. And, that's what we'll be selling them on, and we'll be starting that process probably Tuesday.
You've been at this for a long time, Coach. Is this offseason going to be a little different for you because of the way it kind of started for you with jumping in midway through the season and kind of hitting the ground running, so to speak?
Yeah, I think it's definitely different. In Fort Wayne, I had a nucleus for 5 or 6 years there of, at least 5 or 6 players that I had back every year that were championship caliber and, won 4 championships for me in 6 years. And, now we're hitting the ground really, looking to turn over maybe, 15, 16 players, which I've never done before in a summer. But, I think Gary Graham turned over about 16 guys last year in Fort Wayne. And, they've done really well. So it can be done. And, it's just going to take more time, and the process is going to be longer because you got to get to more people, obviously. And, you don't have that, 8, 10-man nucleus that you want back. And, we're going to have to find guys that we know can play at this level. And we've got a way to build the team from the goal out. And we're going to try and, fit every guy into that position. And, hopefully by September, our team's taking shape. And we look at the board and we say this is a team that can contend.
Well, over these last 3 games, are you looking – kind of give us a rough idea with the game tomorrow night in Gwinnett, and then you've got the 2 games in South Carolina to wrap things up. What are you looking at from the team? Are there goals like there has been throughout the rest of the season over these last 3 games? What are you looking at, or are you basing it more on individual performances as these games will play out the rest of this week?
Yeah, we're looking at the kids, and, we got 3 games left, and we want to win all 3. Obviously, Gwinnett is struggling like us, and it should be a heck of a game tomorrow, with 2 teams who are going the wrong way. But both teams are out of the playoffs, and like I said, there's no pressure. But we want to see the kids that can play systems. We've taught them all the systems here and how we want to play, and we want to see the kids who are smart enough to put that system into action and can follow directions and put things we tell them into their game. And those are the type of kids you want to keep because they can learn very quickly. Other people, we've been telling them things all year and they still haven't got it. So, those are the type of people we don't want to have back. But, it's just one of those things of, like I said, just finding out which of these players can play for us next year and be a benefit to us next year and help us next year get to where we want to get to. And we're going to be judging them every game.
Evansville IceMen head coach Al Sims getting ready for the final 3 games of the season tomorrow night against Gwinnett, and then 2 games on Friday and Saturday down in South Carolina. Coach, best of luck over these final 3 games. We'll talk again soon.
Hey, thanks, Jimmy. Brian, take care.